Good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry D'Ambrosio, Manager of Educational Content here at VectorVest. It's my pleasure to bring to you this week's special presentation, Strong Picks, Stronger Plan, Charting Your Exit Strategy. You've picked strong stocks, now what? In this week's Strategy of the Week, I'll walk you through how to protect your gains and make smarter exits using simple yet powerful techniques. We'll explore how support and resistance levels can guide your decisions and how moving averages act as dynamic indicators of trend strength. With these tools, you'll learn how to stay in winning trades longer and get out of losing trades faster. We'll start with a simple but powerful idea. Buy the safest stocks in the market. But managing those trades requires a plan. So here's the setup. We'll create a portfolio of top relative safety stocks as of April 22nd, 2025. That was a green light buyer signal off of the market bottom after the buy to sell ratio had climbed out of the oversold level of 0.20. So using VectorVest market timing signal, buying the safest stocks in the database, we'll simply go into the stock viewer, sort the stock viewer by relative safety. The goal here is to minimize risk and maximize gains. We're trying to maximize gains by buying stocks early in a market rally and minimizing risk by buying the safest stocks in the database. And our strategy will be to use support and resistance, moving averages, and we'll incorporate relative timing as well to manage those trades. Even strong stocks pull back. That's why we use the chart to know when to sit tight and when to tighten stops or take profits. The 50-day moving average and relative timing helps us stay in tune with the trend. You always want to know where support and resistance levels are. You want to be bullish and look to buy near support or when price is retracing from support. And you want to be bearish when price is nearing resistance or retracing from resistance. Okay, so now we're in the VectorVest program, and I mentioned that we're going to start buying stocks on April 22nd, 2025. I'm going to go into a market timing graph. I'm just going to zoom into the last 5 months or so. I'm going to put on our green light buyer signal. You can see we got a green light buyer signal recently on April 22nd. The buy to sell ratio was as low as 0.04. It's really low for that indicator, 0.03 even. Market began to rally, didn't really show signs of strength until about April 22nd. That is a clear signal. We were saying on that day that it is okay to buy safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price. This is always the first step, right, in our 3-step process of managing your portfolio. Knowing when to buy. The next one is, of course, knowing what to buy. And then we'll go through some tips on managing those positions. Now, looking at the hard right edge of the market timing graph, you can see that the VectorVest composite has stalled. It's consolidating a little bit, looks like a little mini wedge pattern. If you're sitting on gains on top relative safety stocks that you bought early in this rally, it is your job to manage those positions, protect profits, take profits, cut losers if necessary. But right now, this is a perfect time to start thinking about doing that with the uncertainty in the market right now. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off, tariffs are on, tariffs are off. One more time. Tariffs are on, tariffs are off. Who can keep up with all of that? So with the uncertainty right now, again, we need to protect profits, be a little defensive, and begin to manage our portfolio a little bit more actively. I'm going to go into viewers now. I'm going to go into the stock viewer. I'm going to take the date back to April 22nd. That was the green light buyer signal. And I'm simply going to sort the stock viewer, right? This is our enormous list of 9,493 stocks. The default sort is VST. I'm going to resort that list by relative safety. This is going to bring the safest stocks in the entire database to the top of the list. You could just take the top 10. I'm going to skip over a few of these. BYDDF, BYDDY, same company. One trades a little bit more actively. I'm going to select BYDDY, also pays a dividend. I'm going to choose that one. And I'm going to go down the list. I'm going to just select the top 10 stocks, sorted by relative safety at the top. Now, just going to point something out. IBKR, Interactive Brokers, does have a sell rating. I'll explain why it might be okay to buy a sell-rated stock at this stage in the rally. We're at the very beginning stages of a market rally, right? First green light in the price column of the color guard after the buy to sell ratio had gotten below 0.20. Yes, it's a little bit more of an aggressive entry. You could see that the RT rating is less than 1.64, but is it rising from a bottom? Is the indicator strengthening from a lower level? And that's what we'll use the chart for. So I'm going to graph these selected stocks. Okay, I'm going to put a couple of indicators on the chart. I'm going to go add parameter, technical analysis. Remember, we're going to use support and resistance to help us manage these trades. I'm going to put RT on. And I'm also going to use the 50-day moving average. I'm going to apply that indicator to the chart as well. I'm going to check support and resistance. And we have all we need right now. I'm going to zoom in just to the last 7 months or so. I'm going to give us a date line at that April 22nd green light buyer signal. Now that signal came at night, right? We wouldn't have bought any of these until the very next day. We want to make sure that there's follow through the next day as well. And you can see with BYDDY, we did get follow through. There's your April 22nd date. On that day, the RT was at 1.35. The stock price was in between this support level of 84.34 and this resistance level at 104.19. The price was also above the 50-day moving average. So short-term trend up, intermediate term trend up, price is rallying off of the support level, and you have a market timing signal. Oh, and by the way, this is a top RS stock as well, right? One of the safest stocks in the database. All things are pointing to this is a great buy at this point in time. And I'm also going to use and put on our recommendation. Also had a buy rating on that day as well, and I'm going to apply our stop price to it as well. Remember, no matter if you are in a long-term investment or a shorter-term trade, if ever the price of the stock falls below our stop price, remember our stop price is a 13-week adjusted moving average. It's adjusted for the fundamentals of the company. If the company's fundamentals are strong, we will lower that stop price because we want to keep you in that stock longer. If the company's fundamentals are poor, we will raise that stop price to get you out sooner. Not once after we took this trade after April 22nd did the stock's price fall below its 13-week moving average. You can see the ratings kind of oscillated between buy and hold, but it never got a sell. The price barely dipped below the 50-day moving average one day here. I don't think it's enough to cause us to close the position. Again, staying above our stop price during that time. The 50-day moving average, by the way, is upsloping, so that tells us that the intermediate term trend is strong. The RT never dipped below 1 either. So after buying this stock on April 23rd with follow-through, you could still very well be in this position currently. Now, I know the stock price has kind of crashed here from 120 to 103. It has landed right above its 50-day moving average and has transitioned into a hold rating. You might want to watch this position a little bit more carefully now. Not to say that you couldn't have taken profits at all along the way. That is your prerogative. But if you want to stay in these investments longer, these are some good guidelines. So our stop price, RT crossing below 1, price breaking down through support. You can see that this is a support level at 104.19 now. Price broke above that zone, came back down to retest it. Looks like we're sitting right in that 104.19 zone. A breakdown below this support level, a move below the 50, and a transition into a sell rating might be a good time to take this trade off. I'm going to move to the next one. Here's support. Resistance is actually at the high. I'm seeing another zone now. I'm going to create a horizontal line. It looks to be there's a resistance zone right here at about 711. I'm going to create a date line at our 423. Right, 422 was the signal. 423 was our follow-through day. Looks like we got follow-through on that day. Relative timing still below 1 at that time, but again, strengthening, rising from a lower level. Price actually broke above this 537.35 resistance zone, came back down to retest it. Remember, I said you always want to know where support and resistance is. You want to be bullish near support. On 423, is price near support? It absolutely is, actually retracing from that support level. Price crossing above the 50-day moving average. The stock has transitioned from a sell rating into a hold now, and the market's rallying. Price continues to move higher. This looks to be a good entry here. As of the hard right edge, we could see that the price just recently broke above that resistance zone, again at about 712.53. And looks like it's coming back down to retest it. It did retest it here at 523, never broke below it. The transition was complete from a sell to a hold, now a buy. It's standing at the hard right edge, just a day off of the actual high, well above its upsloping 50-day moving average, well above our stop price as well. This is a trade that you can hold on to for longer. Relative timing, very strong there at 1.58. Okay, here's BSX. I'm going to give us a date line there. There's our follow-through day. In fact, on this day, April 23rd, price broke above 97.37. That was resistance, right? It used to be resistance. When price is below these zones, that zone is resistance. Price breaks above on April 23rd. Relative timing crosses above 1, so now the short-term trend is up. Price also crossed above the 50-day moving average. Also above the stop price. The transition from sell to hold to buy is complete now on April 24th. Price continues to move higher. Now, the old high there that was put in on February 5th is resistance. Price has stalled at that level. Depends on how long you want to stay in this trade. If you want to stay in longer, you're not worrying. Price is above the 50. It's a buy rating. RT is above 1, but weakening. And the price is also above our stop price as well. Again, in no jeopardy here of getting a sell rating anytime soon. If this is a trade that you want to manage a little bit more actively, you may want to consider taking profits. Remember when you took the trade here. So you're sitting on some pretty good gains here with price failing to break above an old high. Failure to break above an old high is essentially establishing resistance. It's a supply zone where sellers are doing a pretty good job of resisting price from rising any further, right? They're pushing price lower. Selling pressure is overcoming buying pressure. And we're seeing a little bit of hesitation and resistance at that zone. So if you want to trade the position a little bit more actively, you're looking to take profits here. Remember, we talked about managing winners, letting winners run. We also talked about knowing when to trim the portfolio, when to take profits, and when to just cut losers in general. I don't think this is one where you need to just close the position entirely, but if you want to take profits here, that might be a good opportunity to do so. Here's CASY. I'm going to give us our date of April 23rd. There it is. Not even sure if we would have taken this position on April 23rd, right? So there's your signal on April 22nd. The stock did gap up, but never really followed through. Never really followed through. I guess it probably followed through somewhere in this area, so you may have taken it. May be in a little bit of trouble here with this one. Let's just kind of talk through what happened after you took the trade. The price came back down, broke through a couple of these zones, but landed right at the 50. So if you're using the 50-day moving average as a nice guide, the trend is still up and the trend is strengthening. Now, of course, the short-term trend weakening, but the RT indicator never fell below 1. It did fall from its high of 1.45, got to 1.12. Again, never crossed below 1. Price transitioned to a hold, stayed above our stop price though. So it stayed above the 50-day moving average, stayed above our stop price, did fall below short-term support, and now it looks like it's sitting right at the 50-day moving average as well. Also at support. This one might have a tighter leash on it. A breakdown below the 50-day moving average would essentially be a breakdown below support as well. Might be an opportunity to cut your loser before it eventually gets a sell rating. But it looks like it's heading in that direction. You could see the RT weakening as well, hitting lower highs here. Not a winning trade, right? So we want to let our winners run. We want to cut our losers a little bit early. Here's Costco. There's April 23rd. Didn't really get follow through there on that day either. Maybe you waited a couple of days before you would take this trade. Remember, the market continued to rally after April 22nd. RT is strengthening. It's a hold rating because the divergence between the price and our stop price isn't significant enough for it to get a buy just yet. Okay? I do see a zone right here at about $1,000 as well. Used to be resistance. Looks like there's some hesitation in that zone. Where do we stand today? It has a buy rating. You might be a little profitable on this one. Relative timing is above 1, so the short-term trend is still up. Price is above the 50-day moving average, so the intermediate-term trend is up. And price is well above our stop price as well. CTAS. Now, this is, of course, a winner. Okay, there's our date there, April 23rd. That was a good follow-through day. Price hesitated after we took the trade at about 212 for a couple of days, but it never retraced from that zone, did it? Right? It broke out above it, came back down to retest it. Now we're retesting old resistance at 227, and not uncommon to see a little hesitation and some selling pressure as of the hard right edge. Again, it depends on how you want to manage this position. If you want to lock in gains, you'll do that soon, given that price has had a difficult time here over the last couple of days to break above 227.74. That is resistance. Taking half off might not be a bad idea. Let the rest run. Again, booking profits, taking profits when you see hesitation at resistance is a very good short-term trading strategy. Price is well above its upsloping 50. It has a buy rating above our stop price, and RT is strong as well and continuing to strengthen there. IBKR. This is the one that had a sell rating when we bought it on April 23rd. But let's take a look at the chart, right? This is the hard right edge, April 22nd, April 23rd. There's our date. Look at where price is. It's near and retracing from support. It might be a little bit of an earlier entry, sure, because it has a sell rating. RT is below 1. Price is just a little bit below our stop price. But the RT is strengthening here. I'm seeing a higher low being put in on RT. As price retraces from support, RT is strengthening. Might be a nice early entry, and it was. Price eventually broke through this 177.44 resistance zone before making new highs. Got another zone right here at 194. Used to be resistance, broke through that resistance zone. We currently stand above this 194 support zone and resistance, which is the actual high. This is a trade that you can let run as well. It's transitioned into a buy. It's above now. It's upsloping 50-day moving average. It's above our stop price. RT is really strong there at 1.67. We'll do a couple of more. Here's LRN. Whoops. Where's our date? April 23rd. This is interesting. So April 22nd was the signal. April 23rd was follow through. I wouldn't have taken that trade on April 23rd. Price met and hesitated at resistance. This resistance zone is 143.71. Price met it, retraced from it, little hesitation there, eventually broke out. You don't want to trade at resistance. Remember, you want to be more bearish at resistance if you're in a position, and bullish at resistance if price breaks through resistance, which it actually did there May 1st. Okay? Price is currently above 143.74. This used to be resistance. Now it becomes support. This one you might want to watch a little bit closely here. Price has broken down. You can see that the RT, a little bit of a bearish divergence here too between the price of the stock and our RT indicator. You could see lower highs being put in on RT. So a weakening trend. The trend is still up, right? RT is still above 1. Price is above the 50. It's got a buy rating. It's above our stop price. The trend is still up, but it does appear that the trend is weakening. You can see the retest to the penny too on May 12th. retest of that 143.71 zone. This one, again, might have a tighter leash. If it breaks down below 143.71, you may want to exit the position a little bit earlier. This is a very volatile stock here. Progressive, there's our date of April 22nd. There's our confirmation day a couple of days later. Price at that time was near 260, which was support, so that's good. Being bullish at support is what you want to pay attention to, right? What you want to do. Price eventually broke out through this zone, but met 288.82 again. Retraced from it and is now sitting right at this 274 support zone. It's transitioned into a hold. Look at the RT indicator. This is a warning sign. RT indicator is continuing to hit lower highs while price is struggling to reestablish upward momentum. It's sitting right at the 50 as well. So we got a couple of indicators here that are telling us another one where we might want to have a little bit of a tighter leash. At support, at the 50-day moving average, transitioning from a buy to a hold, and the RT indicator is crashing there. And finally, TPL. This is one I might not have even taken. Look at this. This stock had been in a very narrow channel here for quite some time. I drew these lines. I can probably take that one off. I can take them both off, actually, because support and resistance, puts those lines where they're supposed to be, at the lower end of the range, at the upper end of the range. Where do we find ourselves today? Well, unfortunately, we're at the lower end of the range. Now, a retracement off of this zone, which we've seen a number of times recently, might be a good buying opportunity where you might want to add to your position. A breakdown below 1210 might be an opportunity to close the position if you did take it there on April 23rd, right? Price did reach 1448.80, and then just like it's done 3-4 times in the past, retraced from that zone. Again, encouraging that we've settled into 1210, but a breakdown below would eventually be a breakdown below our stop price, which would transition the rating from a hold to a sell, and you could see RT crossing above 1 as well. Another one with a very short leash. All right, so a few rules to take away. Always know where support is and set your stops accordingly. If you buy a stock off of a support zone, you might not want to wait too long if it drops below that support zone. It might fall all the way to the next support zone. So just always know where support is. You use the 50-day moving average for the bigger picture. What's the intermediate term trend? We use RT for the short-term trend. We can use the 50-day moving average as a nice dynamic trend indicator to give us the longer or mid-term trend. And don't trade reactively. Review the charts weekly and plan proactively. I'm going to challenge you guys next week. Take your open positions, put them on a chart, identify support and resistance zones, put RT and put the 50-day moving average on, and then write down your action plan. Are you going to hold the position? Are you going to take profits? Or is it time to exit the position entirely? I want to thank you guys for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this week's special presentation, and have a great weekend, everyone.